Alright, it is me, the spiritual warrior that is back, offering support to those spiritual warriors out there that are putting up boundaries and defending themselves and spiritually fighting people out here that I've been calling the dark triad brats. But I'm basically talking about heavily narcissistic, possibly narcissists, and people with disorders or whatever that are designed to tear down another person. That's what we're covering. And today, I wanted to cover something a little bit. Well, yeah, I definitely wanted to cover something, but this one is unique. Today I'm going to talk about one of the funny games that they play actually with you that you don't even realize that it's happening. But at some point, this could happen with, this is why this is one of those ones that I'm leaving kind of vague, because this can happen with multiple types of people. They don't have to particularly be one of the dark triad brats. But I have noticed that most dark triad brats play this game. And that game that is I'm about to bring up is actually called, we've all actually done it before and we all know it well. It is called Show and Tell. Now, they have this funny habit of, after some point when they actually feel like they're, superior and above you and smarter than you and all that stuff, they become the masters of show and tell. And it'll sound funny, and it maybe even sound a little crazy until I explain better how this works. Now, see, this I actually noticed when I was dealing with someone in particular, and it used to be about TV shows. There was a point where we would mention, shows to each other, be like, yeah, I've been actually watching this show, it's pretty good. And then, they would actually mention their show. So if, it starts off as a equal exchange. You check out my show, I check out your show. And then what happened over time is they stopped basically watching all my shows all together, and then they kept recommending shows though. And then when I would actually recommend stuff, they would either shoot it down, or they'd be like, oh, that's not my type of, show or something, and but then they want me to watch their show. And then, to really, really throw it in your face, they will basically drown you with too much of their TV shows, movies, if you really, really pay close attention, there's a certain point where they're playing the game of show and tell, where they're trying to show and tell about all their stuff, pretty much, gonna tell you about all their shows, all their actual movies. They want to show you actually music, documentaries that they've watched, they actually start oversharing, and this is the show and tell thing that they do, and they drown out everything that you particularly try to mention or like. So all the TV shows you like or get rejected out. They don't even like them. Movies, the same thing. They ain't gonna watch them, but they want you to watch their show. And on top of them playing this show and tell game, they're gonna check back with you to see if you watched their show or listen to their audio book, or checked out the movie they mentioned, and they get butthurt over it. But then if you ask them about, this is a good way to test them out too, because the chances are you've already mentioned shows and movies to them, and now you can play the reversal game on them. I hate playing these kind of games with these kind of people because they are actually messed up, but sometimes you have to do this to shut them down, because they will be sitting there and getting butthurt that you're not checking out their so-called TV show or their movie, and then you have to turn around and be like, oh, did you actually check out the one show that I mentioned to you, since you got me wanting to watch 5 of your shows, 3 of your movies, but you can't check out my one show? Did you check it out? Did you check out the one thing that I mentioned after all the stuff you done mentioned? sometimes you have to put them on the spot and show them their own selfishness, that they'll be over here drowning you in their stuff. And, sometimes they won't even care. So just be aware of that too. So even with you addressing that they're trying to drown you and show and tell their stuff too much, you're going to, you're going to catch them. Sometimes they don't care and they're just more concerned with, oh, you check out my show. And you get to see how childish that they are. This is why I use the term that I do when I say dark triad brat. Yeah, they do these things with other things too, but basically they drown out all the things that you like and make you feel like there's something wrong with it through this game of show and tell. And they think in their own head that all this stuff is really the coolest stuff on earth. You'll be surprised if you pay close attention and you just be quiet. They really do think they're the most interesting person on earth. They think everything that they will, but they need reassurance. They need another person to come along, and that's where you come in. They need you to reassure that they found the best stuff on earth and stuff, and you need to make them feel this, or they're gonna feel in some type of way. They're gonna be butthurt. They're gonna, you might hurt their feelings enough they become vengeful, and now you're gonna have an awkward situation with them. It's like, but yes. The fun game of what they play with the show and tell, you know what I'm saying? I've had a couple of people that I would call these dark triad brats, to where they done brag to me about cheating on their girlfriends, sitting there, and they be proud of it, backstab their friend and stuff, and they'd be proud of it. And this should have been a red flag to me when I was in my actual younger years. So I'm warning people that are young, before you get old, if you see your friend doing this and they're gloating about backstabbing another friend, and you think that can't be you, or they're cheating on their girlfriend and they think it's funny and stuff, I mean, it's your choice what you do with that information, but you should stop hanging out with people like that. This is one of them, these kind of people end up being kind of dangerous to you over time. So, just to put that FYI out there, if you're hanging out with these type of people, which I know that people in high school or roughly in college ages, they're more likely to be hanging out with people like this because social groups, etc., etc. But this is also where some of the most dangerous people kind of thrive at, is in some social circles and stuff. Sometimes they can do their handiwork right in front of a whole group, just tear someone down, and the whole group will think it's just jokes, so you got to be careful. But yeah, I think I'm almost covered on that. I thought I'd cover that subject about how they play show and tell and then drown out everything that you like as well. It's a funny game, They turn the game of show and tell into something dangerous, to where they're also playing the rejection game with everything that you have to bring to the table. So I will leave it there for now, but until I return, still delivering some knowledge that I don't think they're teaching in college.